Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Actually, got to make one change to my whole screen here. My whole life is changing right now before my very eyes. For some reason, my mouse is not mousing. Okay, here we go. Now my mouse is mousing. I was like, what is going on in the world today? So, yesterday I did this whole thing with about how you can. Really gonna come in here now? My puppy literally just heard me start talking. He's like, oh, it's time to go in. He has literally not been in here the whole time, but as soon as I get started, he's like, oh, I need to go in there. What are you doing? All right, so let's do this. Yesterday, I did a talk, and a viewer named Kendra asked, she said, you slid right by this little gold nugget about breaking through market stagnation. And I did. It was really, really fast. And she said that her leads aren't leading. She's not getting the leads that she was looking for, and that she wanted me to go a little deeper on that particular topic. So I'm going to do that. My name is Don, and I know I just did a live, but I promised her I would do it today. So I'm going to do it today. My name is Donna St. Louis. I'm co-founder of Fire Savvy, along with my co-founder, Chanel Evans. What's up, Chanel? Listen, if you had the testicular fortitude and the ovarian audacity to get out there and become an entrepreneur, then we want to give you what it takes to have financial freedom from corporate colonization. We are Fire Savvy, and we are a business advisory company first. And then from there, we do coaching. So we do coaching, we do a sales academy, we do accountability, we have even co-working. So we have all those things, especially if you're a solopreneur and you're like, hey, it's just me right now and I really need a team. We are that team. We are your business advisors, your coaching company, your community. We are the whole thing. So let's do this real quick. I'm going to take off because you know what? I can't see. I'm like, why can't I see anything? I literally can't see with shades. So I'm going to put on my glasses and we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. So let's do this real quick. Oh, hey, there y'all are. How you doing? Okay, I didn't see you there before. All right. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go over these three real quick and make sure that my comments are turned on just in case you have any questions. It's easier when I use this mouse. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just moving the mouse around so I could see the comments because I just saw some comments come in already. Okay, yeah, there they are. Ooh, more comments. Okay. Somebody said, "Girl, what happened?" Literally, like, ran in because I have another appointment I have to jump to, and I won't be able to do this later. So, but I did make a promise, and I'm one of those people. If I make a promise, I will make sure I hit it. And so I just wanted to go over these real quick. So, how do you actually do that? How do you get away from market stagnation? How do you get out of blue? How do you get into blue waters where there is no one, and out of red waters where there's nothing except for shark and chum, and everyone's competing with you? I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And there are 3 things that we look at. So the first thing we look at is this. It is your why. I'm sorry, it is your what. I said why. It is your what. Ooh, all over the place. Not in a good spot. Let's do that again. I wrote right on the thing. So let's do it here. So we're going to start with your what. So if you really want to break in and you want to like completely change the game, you have to have a new what. But let me tell you something about having a new what. An example of a new what would be like ChatGPT. So 8 months ago or so, when ChatGPT first hit the market, it was a brand new what. Like people were like, holy crap, this thing can literally do everything for me. The challenge that you ran into, though, is this. When you have a new innovative what, it's number one, it usually takes a long time to develop, right? And it is a big bang, which means, by the way, it is short-lived because it's quickly copied. ChatGPT is a perfect example of that. When we saw ChatGPT several months ago, right? We first heard about it. They were like the only one on the market, and everybody's like, whoosh, let me go take a look at it. So it took a long time to develop that level of AI though. And it was a big bang, like it came into the market hard, boom, and it was there. The thing is that it was a short-lived ownership, right? I don't mean that the technology was short-lived. I mean, the ownership of that market is very short-lived. It doesn't take, right? And here's the thing. It doesn't take a lot of marketing, not as much as the other two. Initially, doesn't take a lot of marketing. It's hot. Everybody wants it. They're going to jump onto it, right? So it doesn't take a lot of marketing. It takes some marketing, but not a lot. So when you look at this, it's long to develop. It's a big bang, right? Which means it's going to come in, it's going to hit hard, but it's going to fizzle quickly. That's why it's short-lived. It's quickly copied, and it doesn't take a lot of marketing. So it's great for a cash infusion. That's really what they're for. They're great for cash infusions because they're going to give you a lot of money up front for the first person who's in the market. And you can go and look at any technology in the past, whether you're looking at the VCR, right? The first VCR that came out, before you knew it, there were a bunch of copycats. And I mean, like within months. So it's not even like you have a long lead time. You have months to own market share. If you look at DVD players, look at the iPod, right? Creative Labs actually had an iPod before the iPod came out, but they weren't doing a good job marketing it. When Apple started doing the iPod, they came out and they hit the market hard, but their technology was easily copied. And so their ownership of that market was short-lived. So what they really had to do was sell the coolness of having a white device, because back then all the devices were black. So having a white device with these white earbuds, they did a whole campaign on having white earbuds. So while it doesn't take a lot of marketing, the thing is your marketing has to be creative if you want to own a nice lion's share of that new innovation. So when you look at what you have, how is it unique? How can you make it unique? That's this one by far, by the way, is the hardest. It is also probably one of the most lucrative initially. You're going to get a lot of money fast. So I'm going to just put it over here, 6. You're going to get quick dollars. Great for cash infusion. Great for cash infusion. All right, let's go to the next one. The next one, let's go to why. And these aren't in order. I'm trying to think. What I'm really trying to think of is like, what is the hardest? What is the easiest kind of a thing? So the why does not take long to develop. However, it does have to be very, like, you can't bullshit the why. The why is more of a personal mantra that your business is going to live by. So when we talk about our why, for us, we're like, you deserve, as an entrepreneur, we really believe that you deserve financial freedom from corporate colonization because you took the leap. So by virtue of you taking a leap, we really believe that you deserve financial freedom from corporate colonization. That is our why. So when people go, Donna, you sold a $250 million company, you could retire. Yeah, I could have retired a long time ago, but I really do believe that there are people that are coming behind me that are experts, that are total badasses, and they think that all they really need to do, oh my God, I still have the thing on my glasses. They really think that all they really need to do is just be an expert, and being an expert is not enough. But I don't want you to completely lose your business in your shirt because you didn't learn how to sell, right? Because you're afraid of sales, because sales feels icky and you don't like it. No. So my why is you can have financial freedom from corporate colonization, because I was you. I was terrified. I hated selling. I thought it was so gross. Now I'm one of the top 5 sales coaches in the country. So your why has to be so clear about who you are, and it has to connect directly to your what. If you try to do a why that doesn't connect to your what, why are you bothering? Like, it has to work, has to go hand in hand. So the why is a central belief to your company. It does take a lot of marketing. The nice thing about it is that once you have a solid why, you will own that market because you will have cult followers. So let me explain this really quick. If you look at Apple, when Apple came in, they did not have a unique what? They had a cell phone. Cell phones already existed, right? So it wasn't like they created a new what. But what they did was they had a very unique why. So in other words, if you looked at the phones back then, people were trying to figure out how to get more phones on a more buttons on a smaller device. And the BlackBerry itself was, they tried to make a small device, but that device had like 800 buttons. Like it had buttons on top of buttons. Like if you press the one time, it was something, but if you pressed it harder, double time, it was something else. If you pressed it 3 times, it was something else, right? And so that you had to and the settings menu was like this long. And even the little book that it took, it was a little book. It was a little tiny square book like that, but it was like this thick, right? So you were basically walking around with a Rubik's Cube in your pocket. That was the book. And it was very complicated for you to really get into the deep details of it. And so basically the person who was the smartest person on the planet that used it was, they're like, oh, John knows everything about the BlackBerry. He can make that thing do anything he wants. And it was a powerful device. When Apple came out and they started saying think differently, what they really were saying was, we don't believe that you have to know how you have to master this Rubik's Cube of a document in order to use your device. We don't think you have to be smarter. We think your device has to be smarter. That was thinking very differently, right? In the tech world, are you kidding me, techies? No. We already know the customer isn't going to think. So, we got to do everything we can to put educational content out in front of them so they will think. Apple said, no, we don't want I know it sounds really bad when I'm saying it, but they were like, we don't want the customer to have to think. We want the device to have to think. We want the device to figure it out for the customer. We want the device to know that when they lift the phone, whether it's like this or whether it's like this, they're doing a text message, they're doing a phone call, and they're doing a camera. It wanted the device to be so smart that the device would intuitively act based on the customer's behavior. That was unknown. That was unheard of. But their central belief was so strong. It was so strong that everything should work together and be easy, that people would crawl buck naked over broken glass in the middle of winter to stand in line for 2.5 days to buy the next latest and greatest one, which, quite by the way, didn't have any real new technology in it. But people were constantly buying it. When you have a central belief that is so strong and speaks to your audience, speaks to your market, when that central belief is so strong, you will own that market with people who are loyal clients. They will not leave you. They will have arguments online of, are who's over here on team green bubbles versus who's here on team blue bubbles. Like they will. And listen, if you're sitting here going, I don't know what green bubbles are. I don't know what you mean by blue bubbles. That's because you're not on an iPhone. And every iPhone person knows this. It will take marketing because if you go and look at Apple's marketing, it's not just going to take finances. It's going to take a lot of creativity. If you go and look at Apple's marketing from then, their marketing was so powerful because it was so unique. And people would go, that ad doesn't mean shit. It did not matter. Apple buyers loved it. And what they did, this is what made them brilliant in regards to their central belief, is that they only spoke to their audience. That's the other thing about a why. That why, there's no convincing in it. I am not trying to convince anybody that they should leave their job. I'm talking to entrepreneurs. People who said, well, I don't believe that they deserve financial freedom compensation. I have a job. I don't care. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to entrepreneurs who had the testicular fortitude and the ovarian audacity to take the risk. I'm talking to the person who's still working that job, but got that side hustle. And that side hustle is making them more money. And they're only staying at their job for the benefits. That's who I'm talking to. I'm not talking to people, right? And so when you are so strong with your central belief, you're going to have haters. That central belief, but you know what? They're going to, your followers are going to consistently show up to the church of your belief. And they're going to consistently put money in, and they're going to stay right there. And that next thing you're going to come out with, they are definitely going to buy it. But you have to be so tied into that central belief. And it has to be something that other people aren't saying. You got to be so strong with that central belief that you really could care less about it. And it should be tied directly to who you are and your experiences as a person. But it can't be what I'm hearing from everybody else. If I hear from everybody else, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, every personal trainer says that. I believe everyone should be healthy. Well, yeah, so does every other personal trainer. I believe everybody has the right to be sexy. So does every other personal trainer. I believe everyone should be beautiful. So does every personal trainer. Tell me something different. There is this one trainer that I absolutely love, and God, I wish I could remember his name. That's online. And he always talks about these people that are like trainers, and they're like, you know, you shouldn't eat carbs and you shouldn't do this. And they have this whole list of shouldn't do's, right? And then he goes, screw you. You know what? If my client is going from eating 5 cups of rice to a cup of rice, that's a fucking win. And he says it just like that, by the way. That's a fucking win. And I'll take that win every day. Right? So he says things like that. He goes, if they go from eating regular pasta to whole wheat pasta, I'll take that win. If they go from sauce that has sugar in it to sauce that doesn't, I'll take that win. So he consistently taught, like, we're all these other people like, no, you have to be ultimate healthy. He goes, I'm not trying to get him to ultimate healthy. I'm trying to get him to the next step of healthy. So let's work that. And this guy's been on the cover of like men's magazines and everything. But I just love that his why is so like, I'm not trying to get you to compete, you know, have a job at Home Depot and compete in the next Miss America contest, if that, you know, Miss Fitness, if that's not what you're looking for. I'm looking for you to be 10% healthier than you were a year ago, or 20% than you were a year ago. And it might mean making small things. So I don't need you to run 20 miles. And what I love about him, he goes, I hate cardio. I would prefer for you to cut off my feet and tell me I had to do upper body all day than to do cardio. His belief, I've seen hundreds of people online talking about fitness. He is the absolute one that I love and would watch him every day, twice on Sunday, because he's that good. Is your why so powerful, and does it stand out from everyone else in such a strong way that you will stand behind it? Ward, UWEM, she has a why that is so strong in regards to everything that she does with the church that I would listen to her every day. Is your why strong? And do you have enough people that when you communicate that why, they're like, yeah, 100%. Your why should not be convincing other people. Your why should be inspirational and influential. If you have a strong enough why, you will get people to follow. Now, it's a longer time frame, but once people get on board, they stay on board. They stay loyal. Okay. And I can say this because I have clients that I've coached, and I can probably only name out of all the clients that I've coached that still don't tell people that I'm their coach. Like right now, they're like, oh no, Donna's my coach. Even if I haven't coached them in a year, they're like, no. That's my coach, right? Because our why, my why and their why is the same, right? We have the same central belief. Okay, the last one is the who. So, you know what? I'm doing it today. Today it's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. All right, I got 5 minutes. Okay. The last one is the who. All right. So let's talk about having a really strong who. I'm going to use, and I love to use her, my client, former client, Deani Winter Funday. The reason I always struggle over, because Deani will tell people, no, Donna's my coach. Right. Still to this day, like she's like, no, that's my coach. That's my coach. That's my coach. Even though I know she's been in another program, she's been very successful. She's crushing it. So let's look at this. Deani's what is that she does immigration law. Her why is that she is passionate. She doesn't believe that people should have to win the where you were born lottery in order to have a good life. But she does believe that if you are going to leave from where you are, that you should do it legally so that way you don't have any problems, right? You want to start that new life, let's start it on the right foot. She's like really big about that. So when she was going, she still does immigration law, but she was working on her who. And so her who was immigration lawyers who wanted to add immigration law to their business. That was her who, right? The problem is that was red. There's a lot of people that work with immigration lawyers. There's a lot of people that work with lawyers. There's a lot of people that show lawyers how to add a new quote, expertise to their business. There's a lot of people who do that. So now she's competing against a lot of people who are doing that as well. Those people that she was talking to probably didn't have a strong why like she did. That's important. She was going after who did not have her same central belief. They were literally looking at immigration law as just a way to make money. That's it. Right? And so with that, when people are just doing something to make money, they don't have as much, they don't have heart in the game. I'm not even going to say skin. They don't have as much heart in the game. And when they don't have heart in the game, they don't really care. When things get hard, they're not going to do it. So what Deani did was say, well, I'm going to take my what, immigration law, and my why of really giving a damn about people doing this right, as well as being able to start a life in a new country, regardless of where they were born. But I'm going to ask people to help me who are just as passionate about me, about what I do, but not lawyers. So people who want to do what I do, who are just as passionate about what I do, but they're not lawyers. So she went to a market that was not lawyers. She went and started working with notaries, right? So this was so cool because it basically for them was the same as introducing a new product to a new audience. To them, it was new. They'd never heard of this. Did the product exist? Yes. For attorneys, it existed. But now she's going to it's like being the IKEA of your expertise, right? You're like, it's not a bowl, it's a planner, right? She literally took her what to a completely different who. We've seen this before. So I don't know if you remember it, but way back in the day, the Hummer was not a product that regular consumers could buy. It was only for the military. Arnold Schwarzenegger, however, really loved the Hummer, and he wanted one that he could actually ride on regular roads. When he did that, that's when I think it's GM said, you know what, this guy really wants it. And they moved the Hummer into the consumer market. They had a what that already existed, a why that already existed to a completely different market. And the Hummer took off. It was at one point, it was one of the top sold trucks that was out there for a while. Right? So when you go to this new who, they have to be just as passionate about your why, and the what is going to look new to them. So here's the thing about the who. The who does not take a long time to develop. It's short to develop, but it's hard to find. And the reason I'm saying that is because you kind of got to get out of your own way. You really have to get somebody on the outside to kind of talk to you. See, a lot of times when we're taking our what to better, it's not introducing something new. She took her what to a market and it's introducing something new. So it's new to that market. They'd never seen anything like this or heard of this at all, right? For that market, it feels like a big bang. The challenge with this, though, is that it's easily copyable by other attorneys. So it's easily copyable. You can definitely copy the model with no problem at all. So that's one of the things that when you go into that market, you kind of have to go in and you got to rush it and you got to really get things going. You can't go slow at that market. That's so you can own the lion's share of it. From a marketing perspective, the marketing numbers don't have to be ridiculously high, but they do have to be creative enough to capture the attention of this new market. Because remember, they haven't seen this before. So it's a blend between the what. The who is definitely a blend between the what and the how, right? So you need some marketing dollars. You're going to have to be creative and you got to capture their attention. From a financial perspective, it's highly lucrative. because you're basically selling something that no one else is selling to a captive audience. Right? I know I kind of went off the board a little bit. So those are the three areas you look at. You either have to have a new what. It still has to connect with the who and the why, but you got to have a new what. You have to have a why that is compelling to that audience, or you have to have a who. It's one of the three. If you're going to have a why that's compelling to the audience, you have to have a person who's leading the charge that the audience can connect with. If they don't connect with that person, like people connected with Steve Jobs, then it's not going to work. You really have to have someone that definitely connects with the person. So those are the three areas that you really want to look at. Let me see. I have 2 questions. Hey, I see you. What's up? What's up? How you doing? Okay. Oh, Kendra came on. Hey, Kendra. So does this... Okay, she says this is very helpful for her. And her question is in regards to the... into the why, the central belief. So it says... Okay, when sharing my central belief, what is the best way to do that? Girl, every time you introduce yourself. So most people do a big viral promise and they'll do something like this. I help, and I'll use mine. I could say something like, I help people figure out what to sell, who to sell it to, and how to sell it. Right. That's right. That's a big viral promise, right? I work with entrepreneurs who want something amazing to sell, someone amazing to sell it to, and the skills to sell it. Great. Fantastic. But if I change that a little bit and put my why up front and say, listen, I work with experts who are professional service providers, just like you, who have the testicular fortitude and the ovarian audacity to take the leap. And now you want to make sure that you have financial freedom from corporate colonization because you don't want to get a job. I make sure you have that freedom. How do I do it? I make sure that you have something to sell, something amazing to sell, someone to sell it to, and the badass skills to sell it. See how my why makes it more compelling of what I do? Now you understand the reason that I'm doing something. When you can make sure that you put your reason in front of your big viral promise, and I know everybody's like, your big viral promise has to be 7 seconds. Yes, it does. I get that. But what we're really saying is the first 7 seconds of your big viral promise have to be compelling. If it is compelling, the person will listen to the rest. If it is boring, nobody gives a damn, right? So you really just want to make the beginning of your big viral promise compelling enough. And by putting your beliefs in front, it really, really helps. All right. What other question? The question is so the question is about the what. How can I develop a what that will really listen? I'll tell you God's honest truth. You got to be an innovator like nobody's business. Like you really have to be innovative. We usually see this in terms of like you're building something that doesn't exist right now. And then you got to take it to market to an audience that wants it. So that one, I would say of all three, that is the hardest to do. Most of us already have our area of expertise, and then we could implement the why. We can change the why and the who. The what is the hardest. That's like asking me, like, Donna, what's the next hottest, greatest, most badass invention? If I knew that, right? I don't know. That's not my area of expertise, right? I'm not that kind of innovator. I'm this kind of innovator. So yeah, that's a tough one. We used to do, however, when I was in corporate, we did hackathons. And so I got to go, I'm 2 minutes late. So we did hackathons, and those hackathons were used to help people make new, come up with new ideas. But quite honestly, that's probably one of the hardest things to do because most of the time it wasn't a new idea. It was just an improvement on something that already existed. So that's something to think about, right? Most things are an improvement. This is a hard one. To have a what that is like truly innovative, I will tell you, is very difficult. It's a great cash grab. It's a great cash grab. All right, real quick, you probably see a CR code right over the corner of my head. I think you'll see it there. If you do, that's if you're interested in going to the superstarsales.net/academy. Our 6-week academy is coming up for people who really want to get away from the awkward sales conversations and enroll more clients effortlessly. What I love about it is we've turned people into like able to go and have amazing sales conversations within about 90 minutes of taking our class. And then from there, we just keep amplifying their ability to close. So they go from maybe having a 30% close, not even a 10% close rate in a cold market, to having about a 60 to 70% close rate in a cold market. And it works in warm markets too. But if you go to that QR code, or you go to salessuperstar.net/academy, you can definitely sign up. So I look forward to seeing you there. And I hope you have an amazing weekend.